A history of controversy. Projective tests are no strangers to controversy. The Rorschach, in particular, has inspired intense passion in defenders and critics over the decades, leading two scientists to observe in a 1999 paper that the test had the dubious distinction of being simultaneously the most cherished and most reviled of psychological assessment instruments. Dr. Hermann Rorschach, a Swiss psychologist or psychiatrist who worked with schizophrenic patients, is believed to have gotten the idea for the test from a popular European game called Klexography, which involves making inkblots and telling stories about them. As a child, Dr. Rorschach was so good at the game that he earned the nickname Klex or Blot. He died from peritonitis a year after the test's publication in 1921. He was 37 years old. The Rorschach's champions have often been almost worshipful in their belief in its ability to pare back the layers of psyche, and the test is genuinely regarded as offering a richness of information about a person's psychological world that cannot be gained from interviews from the person's psychological world that cannot be gained from interviews or from self-report tests like the Minnesota Multiphasic Personality Inventory, or the MMPI. The test has used the same 10 images since it was developed. Response to the inkblots can be scored using more than 100 criteria, including how common or unusual the responses are, what areas of the blots are focused on, and whether the movement is seen in the images, and so on. In an earlier era, clinicians who determined the special or who demonstrated the special skill in interpreting the test were dubbed Rorschach wizards, and the technique sometimes was referred to as an X-ray of the mind. Over the years, the test's detractors have also been zealous, making at times brutal attacks on its scientific validity, especially in the 1950s and 60s, when practitioners varied greatly in the ways they administered and scored the tests. Some of the criticism abated in the mid 1970s when Dr. John E. Exner, then a professor of psychology at Long Island University, developed systematic rules for giving and scoring the Rorschach and established norms against which the response of test takers could be compared. Dr. Exner's comprehensive system is used by a majority of psychologists who administer the Rorschach. Dr. Exner says that Rorschach workshops at the North Carolina Research Foundation, which he directs, trains an average of 300 clinicians a year in the method in the United States and several hundred more in Europe and Japan. The foundation charges $650 for 5 days of intense training in the technique. With the comprehensive systems, the test can yield a complex picture of people's psychological strengths and weaknesses. The Rorschach's proponents say, including their intelligence and overall